Hello, guys. Welcome back. Lunatic Astrology, your astrologer, Lori Lothian. And today we're talking about the Aries ingress chart where the sun is moving into the very beginning of the sign of Aries. This happens every year, and it's like a new year. You have the Chinese New Year, you have the Gregorian calendar New Year's. Well, this is a tropical, zodiacal, Western astrological New Year. And in a lot of ways, this new year will bring us new themes that we're all going to participate in, not just one or two of us, everybody. And so I'm going to talk about what some of this might look like for the whole world. And then I'm going to look at your sign and pick out a couple of highlights for you in particular in terms of what's stamping into the sky as a kind of thematic story for the next April to April time frame. So the world chart and then your individual impact based on your rising sign. Before I start off, please consider hitting my like button, subscribing, making comments when my videos are up, just supporting me. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you. And I do have a newsletter you can sign up for called Cosmic Moonshine. I'm going to be running a special on that in April, but like to promote it and get everyone to sign up. But a teaser for now, if you do sign up, you're going to get a 30% discount code off any reading with me. Plus, you get access to a bunch of free gifts as soon as you sign up, and a community of people who get content from me by weekly forecast email newsletter stuff that other people around the world aren't getting. And I have a small but lovely Patreon community where we get together 2 to 3 times a month in person for private Zoom calls on topics of the day in the sky, and even personal readings with me in those Zoom meetings. So if you're into that for $5 a month, even check it out in my box below. And you can sign up in from the description box below. Okay, so let's get started. And I see that there's like a genie in a bottle thing poking behind me. That's the lamp behind me. It's a side effect of this particular backdrop. Number one, let's take a quick look at this sky. It's going to look really busy when you see it. I just want you to see what I'm talking about, because the first thing I want to say for the whole world, independent of this whole new reset, tropical, zodiacal, happy birthday, all of us, Aries ingress chart, is that it is also under the influence of a Kala Sarpa Yoga, which is where all of the planets, the major planets, and not including the moon, are bundled to one side of the north and south node axis, which creates in the sky a condition of great hardship for the humanity and the collective. Now, this is a concept from Vedic astrology, but I've seen it play out. There was a Kala Sarpa Yoga in the pandemic sky when we first got locked down in 2020. And so it does correspond with collective difficulty, collective hardship, and times in which things can happen, like wars, which we're having, unfortunately, right now as I speak in the Ukraine. So I want to say that this influence will be over, thank goodness, at the end of April. I think it's going to be Mercury moving past the nodal axis. It's going to break through that. I think, if my memory serves me, around the 24th of April. So I want to qualify with you that everything I'm about to say about the sky must be qualified with the context of, except for that Kala Sarpa Yoga, which we need to get rid of. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And the minor asteroids are not a part of the story in terms of breaking the Kala Sarpa, but I'm going to show you a picture of the sky. And we're going to talk about Abundantia. Woo! There's going to be some abundance from the world, despite it all, because Abundantia is on the north node. That, or we're striving like crazy, like a headless serpent, or like for abundance in the world. And we also have some other really cool asteroids playing a role as well, as a star called Miaplacidus, which is about calamity and chaos, but there's always a silver lining in everything. So I will show you the collective sky. So I'm going to share, and you'll see what I'm seeing. So we'll all see the same thing for a minute. So you can see here, world GMT ingress chart. Now, what I mean by that is that you can cast a Aries ingress when the sun is at 000 Aries in the first minute of ingress for anywhere in the world. So I've got one for Washington, D.C. that I'm going to show you. The one for the capital of the United States kind of is for the gist of the U.S. stuff that will happen thematically over the next year, April to April. I could cast one for Ottawa, Canada, where I live, which would be only slightly different than Washington, D.C., of course, because it's pretty well close to the same, latitude, longitude, energetically, not a lot of differences there. Certainly, if you live in Australia and you want to cast one for the major capital of that country, which now I should know, but I know it's not Sydney, it might be Melbourne. You can do that as well. Okay, so here we have the world GMT as in Greenwich Mean Time, Aries ingress. It's set for London, but it's because that's the 00 time zone. So this is kind of a vibe for everybody around the world. The first thing I want to say is the Kalasarpa yoga is evident even to a non-astrologer. Forget the ascendant, it's not a planet, it's an angle. Look at that. Little Ceres doesn't have to be there. She's just an asteroid, bless her soul. Actually, look at the north node, south node axis and look at everybody piled up on this side of it. Yes, this is literally wedged between the head of a serpent and the tail of a serpent, the north and south node. It kind of means in different takes on it in Vedic astrology, but it's definitely not a good vibe. And it has the idea of everyone going into their baser instincts, acting, reacting, acting out of their primal, we become the least best version of humanity under the influence of the Kalasarpa yoga. We're losing our heads. You know what I mean? So we can see that happening in the world. If you can't, you must be blind. Between wars and the pandemics and the restrictions and the lockdowns and the protests and everything we've been going through, it has been very Kalasarpa yoga. This yoga has been here since the beginning of 2022. Now, bless Mercury's soul, because he will be plunking along through the Pisces and then, moving through Aries and, busting free, getting out, breaking down the doors of a Kalasarpa yoga on the 3rd week of April. Okay, he's a fast mover. He goes through a sign in about 3 weeks. So by the time we get to the end of April, this Kalasarpa will begin to ebb, and that is a relief. I'm sure all of us could agree to that. And so everything I'm going to say about the sky this year is qualified with that. Second of all, big deal. Jupiter's still invisible. He was rebirthed in the heart of the sun, called a Kazemi, on the 5th of the month of March, and he won't be visible till the end of March, maybe early April, depends on where you live. Technically, he could be as visible as early as around the 26th, 27th of March when he's 15 degrees away from the sun. But that's not true for the whole world. Different places will have different levels of visibility. So there's that. And when Jupiter's invisible, justice, fairness, goodness are undercover, invisible, getting rehab. Truth is hidden from view as well. So keep that in mind, this invisibility factor of Jupiter. You can see here he is at 18 Pisces, and there's the sun at 0. That's still only 12. He's 12 degrees away from the sun. You're not able to see him at this point in the sky. So he needs to be a minimum of 15 degrees away for visibility. Anyway, the last I checked, maybe around the 27th or so of March, he'll be coming out of that condition. Now, when this Kalasarpa yoga is done, that's great. But we have some interesting things baked into this sky that could be interesting for the world. The moon represents the people, right? The masses, the collective, we the people. And it happens to be in a place that is interesting. It's against a star called Miaplacidus, and it's a star of stormy seas and calamity and ups and downs and riding the waves and that kind of thing. And in fact, I'm going to take a look at one of my fixed star books to see what this fellow says about it, because I'm just really curious. So give me a sec. I should have queued that up and I didn't, but I think he has Miaplacidus in here. And if he doesn't, I apologize for your delay. But I think he does. So let's just see. Miaplacidus, where are you? Yes, I gotta tell people I should, front load this story. Miaplacidus, MMM. And if he doesn't have it, I apologize. Not every star book has every star. No, so just take my word for it. It has to do with that calamity effect, that up and down stuff. Now, there is also another thing going on in the sky here. And that is that Jupiter is conjunct a little asteroid called Nessus. And Nessus is a centaur story. Now, Jupiter, justice, truth, faith, hope, optimism, leadership, fairness, luck. Did I say luck? Nessus is a very dark story of a centaur, half man, half horse, who basically poisoned Hercules. Okay, that's the end of the story. But it was very sneaky. He had a cloak with some of his blood on it. His blood had poison in it. That's what he died from, I believe. And he told the lover of Hercules to give it to Hercules to wear to make sure Hercules would love her forever. And she did, and he died. So it's about like a poison or a secret poison or whatever. And the whole story was fraught with drama. So I'm not really keen with that idea that Jupiter, the revealer of truth, is sitting on a star that has to do with that kind of theme. So I wouldn't be surprised if things to do with the word poison or poisonings is somehow relevant to the year of 2022, April to April. I'm hoping for the best here, but I have to tell you that's a possibility. The sky does not lie. It's what it shows as. So, there you go, really. And lastly, as you all know, we're in a war, right? In Ukraine as of this recording in March of 2022. And, for that to look a lot better for the whole world, I would want to look at what Mars is up to in the sky. He does have a fire underneath him, like a vestal flame. Yet he is baking into Aquarius, where he's much more likely to take on treaties or fixing things with ideas or that kind of thing. So, he's more air, mental, strategic. He's less hot, peppery, and fiery and impulsive. And he's sitting next to the goddess of peace and harmony. The only problem here, so could Venus bring peace and peace treaties in the world, Ukraine? Don't forget, we still have to worry about China and Taiwan and all kinds of stuff. Well, maybe not. She is besieged or enclosed between the malefic planets of Mars and Saturn, and that malefic enclosure or besiegement has weakened her. She's like, she would love to bring peace, but she's in a straitjacket, or she's caught between a rock and a hard place here. So that's stamped into the April to April energy field. So that's concerning. That makes me think that peace may be short-lived, or peace may come at a great cost that nobody's really happy with. And you know how those things work. When peace comes at a great cost that nobody's happy with, there's going to be more war down the line. It doesn't actually resolve the fundamental issues that are going on. So ceasefires, treaties, and peace agreements under duress. Venus is under duress. For example, in Ukraine, Vladimir Putin wants a lot of stuff. He wants I think he wants the independence of the Donbass. I think he wants Ukraine to be a neutral territory, which it really was for most of the time. It was agreed in 1991 when the Soviet Union disbanded that it would always remain a neutral territory. I think it was agreed upon again after the Minsk Accord. I'm not a Russian propagandist. I just look at history. And so, all the sort of edgy moves of, dancing around NATO, and Ukraine hinting it wants to join NATO, and Western countries like the US suggesting it would be a great idea for the Ukraine to join NATO. This has been a conversation going on for 2 years. Unfortunately, it has exacerbated Putin's ire. And I don't think that Putin is in his sanity condition right now. Go check my last video with Moses, another astrologer friend of mine, because I talk about the solar return for Vladimir Putin. His ascendant lands on Regulus, the little king born to rule, which can lead him to lose his mind in the quest for attaining power and recognition and status and glory and all of that good stuff. So that means to me that this is going to be a year in which peace is hard won, costs are great, and or peace comes and goes, but may not last. That's just a thought. Could be wrong, could be wrong. Now, the world chart is fixated on the Virgo ascendant, meaning health and healing. And this is good news, because it was Mars's heliacal rise in the sign of Virgo back in 2019 that led us into a pandemic, because it was Mars in Virgo, and Virgo is assigned to do with health issues. And so now I'm feeling really so much better about life and reality that we're past that phase. In fact, I think Mars might have been Kazemi. I apologize. He died in the heart of the sun, if I remember correctly, in Virgo in 2019. But nonetheless, he instigated this health thing. And he rose in Libra in the fall of 19, which is, of course, not a good place for him, right? Mars doesn't like being in Libra. It's a Venus sign. It's the scales of justice. What happened? Mars rose in Libra, and holy moly, things were topsy-turvy. Now, I'm just going to do a quick, because the scales of balance, polarity went off the rockers. Mars, off the rockers, went off kilter. Mars did his heliacal rise in November in Scorpio, and Scorpio is the tail of the stinger. Again, more poisons in the world. I hope not more oil spills, something bad like that, or famous people, or like leaders being poisoned. Not unlikely given what goes on in the world these days. But also Scorpio is a Mars sign. Mars is a warrior. Mars loves war, like stealth war, secret war, spy war, spying, stuff like that when he's a Scorpio. But he can still just bring on war, guys. Like, it's just a thing he does, So there is that piece of the sky that's really been given Mars's kind of 2 thumbs up for more war, please. And we're all like, no, thank you. But Mars has got his act in that Scorpio zone, and he'll be there. Like, the action that he initiated in November plays out until the fall of 23. So we are in a time. Although I did predict over and over and over and over again, the end of the pandemic, because when Mars was going to rise in November, he would finish his pandemic plague making and move into war making. And that's in my December 4th video. war drums and spiders, it's called, and predicting the war direction, as well as my November 19th eclipse video as well. If you want to go back and watch those, I talked about end of the pandemic for a long time now, starting in October. Alrighty, it is the end of the pandemic. We have an endemic Omicron era that we're all moving into. I like the ascendant in Virgo for the collective by far. I feel this is a positive sign. With the moon on Miaplacidus, stormy seas, ups and downs, there's a lack of emotional balance, or there's a lack of balance and justice and fairness or something like that when it comes to the people and the temperament of the people, in my humble opinion. And with that energy of Pluto be engaged by Libra in a square, this is a little concerning. These could be power struggles, imbalances in power, struggles, ups and downs and topsy-turvies against Plutonian forces. And unfortunately, Pluto is the god of, yes, oil and natural gas and gold and silver, but also of uranium, plutonium, the idea of nuclear energy. So I have a concern too, and I'm just going to tell you, because this is going to be a happier story for each of us if you stay tuned. I have concern about a nuclear potential exchange of some import impacting we the people, 29 degrees Antares, a very difficult degree in the sky, full of its own innate turbulence. Okay, so we're going to take a very quick look at the United States chart before we do the all signs. Not a long time, so if you don't like this kind of stuff, you can just go to the timestamps or the chapters, and you can move straight ahead into that part of the story. You don't have to wait for me if you don't want to. So the United States Aries ingress chart is going to line up this time with the ascendant at 25 Aries, almost 26 degrees. There is a star at 28 degrees. Oh, sorry, of Gemini, called Betelgeuse. It is a star that has been connected to power and wealth. Sometimes war is the nature of Mars and the nature of Mercury. It's not right on Betelgeuse, but it's close enough to catch my eye. And I'm thinking, okay, does this mean the United States is almost, but not quite, or sidling up to that Betelgeuse star for wealth, power, and sometimes war? Betelgeuse is a red star. It is the nature of Mars, and therefore it can bring on the United States engagement in some kind of war or warlike constructs. In the United States natal chart, when the United States was born, okay, back in like this Declaration of Independence in 1776, there's a chart called the Sibley chart, which has the United States ascendant at 12 degrees of Gemini. And you can see that at 9 degrees of Gemini is Ceres, the great rescuing mother of her daughter from the underworld, but also bounty, cornucopia, things that grow, plants that grow, and all of that stuff. So this could be auspicious for a return to harmony and greater food production, because this Ceres and fruitfulness and even prosperity for the United States, because you can see that Ceres is in a trine that's very flowing and positive and happy and powerful with Venus, okay, with Mars, with the Vestal flame. These are all up here in the 9th house of the United States, which represents in the United States natal chart foreign lands and foreign shores. And in the Aries ingress chart, it's really mapped over the United States natal chart, which is just an interesting bit of detail. And you can see up here, it doesn't have to have happened that way. In the part of power, this is like governance, power, kings and queens, you know, Joe Biden, etc. You see that there is Jupiter in dignity up there. This bodes well for governance in the United States. It does actually have something positive energetically going on with that part of the sky. So good governance, powerful leadership, a sense of things going well there. It could be part of what I'm seeing in the United States chart. There's no doubt about it. I kind of feel as well, though, that let me just sense into this. I'm really not comfortable with this Uranus in the house of backroom secrets and deals and spy-like things, or things that are hidden from public view, to do with the United States of America, in that square energy to Mars, and, you know, sudden calamities with foreign lands and foreign shores, question mark, who knows? The ruler of the opposition party. So right now the Democrats are in charge of the United States. And right now, that means that this is the part where the Democrats hold fort. Mercury, though, is a planet that rules the 4th house, which can mean the house of the other party that could be in rulership. So the Republican Party. And where Mercury sits in the sky, right, is interesting, because he does sit next to Jupiter, the king. So a prediction. Okay, so this is an Aries ingress chart for 1 year. So it's over by next April, right? But this does say that there are going to be more, to me, more Republicans taking positions of power in maybe the Senate or the Congress. Now, I do believe there's some midterm elections this fall in 2022. My prediction is a massive swell of Republican seats that are going to happen and a loss of Democratic seats. Okay, that's a prediction. I see it in the sky. Now let's go ahead and do the all signs. And I'm going to move away from the screen and come back to you guys. Now, when I do all signs, I want to explain what I'm doing. I'm going to find what I think of all of the things going on in the Aries ingress sky is probably the most important thing you need to know as your rising sign, especially, is being impacted by the new year sky, kind of baking into it. Now, every quarter you can do another chart, right? Every time we have the 1/4 of the way through the year, we have 4 of these other charts we can do to suss out, like nested dolls, how things look like within the whole of the year, April to April, then within the quarter. So I might go ahead and do that during this year. I didn't do that last year, but it's kind of a fun way to do it. And we can definitely go there with this. That's with the seasonal movement of the sun into things like the solstice and the equinox and all of that. Okay, so now we're going to talk about each sign. So let me get that ready for us. Oh, guys, I forgot to say something. Now, I told you about the US chart and how there's Ceres, like the scythe looking thing, the asteroid. By the way, she was the first one to truly break the Kalasarpa yoga before Mercury. And she did that about 2 months ago. And I said, I think that her breaking of that Kalasarpa is the true end of the pandemic. She's known as foodborne illnesses and has been associated with pandemics like cholera in the past. So I kind of use her as a proxy for illnesses that are affecting masses of people. So one of the things I want to say, though, is that she's sitting on a fixed star that's a very warrior-like star, very powerful and warrior-like star, right? Because it's connected with Archangel Michael, and it's Aldebaran. And with Ceres, the goddess of food and things that grow, and a warrior star, I'm not sure if it's like the United States coming really seriously into a time of defending its farmers and wanting to anchor, you know, the food production locally and get away from imports. That could very well be what that means over the next year. Or there are food wars going on in the United States. You know, people are battling over food and resources. I think it's more likely the first one I just said. So let's talk about the signs. I'm going to start with the Aries people. It is your ingress. We get this every year. I'm an Aries sun, moon, and Mercury. So the ingress chart for Aries people, what do I think is the thing you need to know the most that's going to have the most juice for you? Don't forget, I can't put this to your city. If you have a city you live in, you can actually do this chart for your town, your city, and it gives you more nuance as to how things will go in your community, in your town. So I'm looking at a big sky story and just giving you the gist. Number one, all of you Aries people get the moon smack dab in your 7th house of romantic partners and business partners and your audience. If you're a person who puts content out there like I do on YouTube, or you're selling things on the internet, or you have a marketplace that involves like fans or audience out there, moon in the 7th house can give you a great deal of public appeal and make you more popular. So there's that. And so just keep that in mind. Or a woman may figure really prominently in your April to April timeframe, you know, a very important woman coming into your life as a partner or an ally or a very important friend of some kind. Second of all, for the Aries people, there is a stellium in the Pisces quarter of the chart. You know, you have like, you know, Jupiter and the 12th house. I mean, yeah, there's a Pisces stellium in your 12th house in this ingress chart. So you're kind of baking in a lot of interior work, paying attention to your dreams at night, having guides and teachers and gurus even appear that you can really learn from. Jupiter's baked into that part of your sky. If you make revenue on PayPal or Stripe or business engaging in foreign lands or cross boundaries and borders, this is auspicious as all heck for some of you Aries people. So the energy of that stellium, Sun, Neptune, Jupiter, and Mercury in your 12th house, sort of a theme of the Aries ingress for the next 12 months, April to April. And lastly, I think that you're really looking at a time where, with the situation being that your 11th house is just as jam-packed, where there's a stellium of energy in Aquarius with Mars and Venus and the Vestal flame and Juno and Saturn is strong there. You're really kind of refining your hopes and dreams and wishes and really coming into the deepest essence of what you want. And with Venus besieged, you may not fully realize your aspirations and goals April to April. You know, she's wanting to bring you luck, female friendships, larger groups of association, maybe micro celebrity with Venus in the 11th, but she still is besieged. So all I can say is that it comes through that Mars and ambition and directionality and choosing strongly and wisely, and Saturn, you know, fortifying and building slowly and being disciplined in your attainment of your dreams, goals, and wishes. And then Venus is there. I mean, she's bonifying the whole story. I mean, she's not a bad placement. She's just not as strong as she normally is. Now, because she will break out of that out of that beleaguered position at the end of the month of March, I'm going to say this. This really doesn't apply to the whole year. I'm going to feel into this, but I feel like this is what it's like for you guys, like kind of, you know, April, May, June, July kind of thing, or until the summer solstice. We'll have a new sky on June 21st. So between now and June 21st, you may not get everything you want off the ground, but I do think Venus coming out of that placement really only applies to a condition that's going to apply for you until the middle of this summer. All right. Hope you guys, Aries people like me, got something useful from that little description I just gave you. Well, let me finish. And you did bake in something else. In the Aries ingress chart, you baked in the energy of your body and your health and your wellness being connected to Chiron in Aries. And this can be really important for you, some kind of sense of how you're going to strengthen your physical wellness, your mental wellness, your emotional wellness over the next year. You're really focused on physical fitness, physical wellness, and healing yourself during this time. And it's a good placement because you have strategic goddess of knowledge and wisdom there, Athena, and she will give you all the information you need. That's the key in order to attain better health. So there's good news there. All right, let's move on. Taurus, baking in to your year. Taurus rising, especially sun and moon, sort of. You're baking into your year a huge amount of energy in the top of your sky. You are focused as all get out on what we would call career or purpose or reputation, how you show up in the world, the actions or practices you take, how you're seen by the world, basically. And oh my goodness, it's busy up there. Mars and Venus and Saturn and Juno and Vesta. Okay, so a few thoughts. Number one, as I said earlier for Aries, with a besieged Venus in your 10th house, you feel frustrated or stuck, or things aren't as great as you want in your work or professional environment. But I think that's going to change around June 21st, the summer solstice, because that is when we get a new mini chart within the big chart. And also because Venus is only besieged until the end of March anyway. But technically, she's baking something in, I think, mostly to the first quarter. Number two, you are literally looking at an amazing pile up of people in the Pisces 11th house, which is so beautiful because it's a lucky house, a house of good spirit, friends who want to help you, favors from people in high places, greater financial gain from the career path, even some money luck, some windfalls can happen here. I was drinking an apple cider the other day. I don't know if I can show this to you. Oh, no. Yes, I can. Only for you Pisces. Look at this apple cider. Okay. I don't know if you can see the jar. Hang on. Let me see. It's probably reversed. Is it? Oh, look at that. I put a flower in it. It's called Windfall and Jackpot. So isn't that a beautiful can? It's a locally produced apple cider. Some of you will, as a Taurus, sun, moon, especially rising, perhaps be baking in some kind of financial windfall in the year ahead because of this sky, with Jupiter, god of luck, sitting in a house of his joy in your 11th house, accompanied by Mercury, marketing, mercantile, messages and news, good news financially, good breaks for messages coming through friends and allies, great money coming through your career path. I need to get to a massage therapist, chiropractor, and acupuncturist. And Neptune and Sun up here, some of your highest dreams being realized, going into your visions of what you want. Okay, so yay, Taurus, this is a real sweetness. The moon is sitting in your 6th house. You're focused on your health. You're wanting to work on ways that your health is going to be improved over the next year, but you're also maybe pulling in lunar themes around health, looking at your routines, your daily habits, the way, your life has a rhythm, especially your hormonal cycles for a lot of Tauruses. These are things that you're going to be looking at as it pertains to vitality, health, and well-being as you transform those habits and patterns around your health because of that square to Pluto to bring your greater vitality and wellness in this next year ahead. With Uranus baking into your 1st house, a lot of change in your identity, a lot of change in your appearance, a lot of change in who you think you are. It's like you're reinventing yourself. And you know what? You guys are doing that anyway. Uranus has been there for a while. So it's nothing new. You've had it in there in full-time occupation of your identity house since 2019. And it'll be there till 2026. But this year is especially intense with the Aries ingress baking in a a Uranus identity change. So it could be big. It could be big and sudden and dramatic, cutting your hair, changing your hairstyle, sorry, gender fluidity is here. You never know for some of you. All right, moving on. All right, Gemini, sun, moon, rising sign. So what happens with you guys is that you experience, let's start with the moon in the fifth house of romantic love and your children and your self-started business, entrepreneurship energies. This could be a really comfortable romance that could develop if you're a single Gemini and you're looking for love sometime between April 22 to 23. This would be a relationship that feels nurturant, cozy, comfortable, balanced, equitable. It's just comfort in love, comfort in also your relationship to your children. And if you are a Gemini sun or moon, or especially rising, who wants to have a baby, and you've been thinking of getting pregnant, the moon in their fifth house is ideal and offers up a really good opportunity for easy pregnancy and fertility stories to unfold. Now, you're baking in the stellium in your ninth house. That is Aquarius stuff with the besieged Venus that I keep talking about. But don't forget, I think the besiegement really pertains only until the solstice, midsummer of this year, June 21st. You kind of are looking like you're working really hard at ninth house things. Mars and Saturn are up there. Are you working to get some kind of court case or legal case resolved? Are you going to be trying really hard for some of this year to get a trip to a foreign land to work, and your beleaguered Venus going, but the visa passport problem, or, you have to do something that's taking forever to get some important foreign land thing going. Or if you're in higher education, similar themes, Gemini, it's like, you applied to school, they dropped the ball, you had to find the paperwork. Things seem a little stuck here. Less stuck after June 21st, no doubt about it. If you want to get in a relationship with somebody in a foreign land, Venus and Juno are up here. Often this looks like love on a trip, falling in love with someone on a trip, meeting someone in a foreign land, getting in a serious relationship with someone from a foreign culture, language, or religious background. And lastly, this is a house of God, and you're going to find that your spiritual life, your beliefs, what you think the world works, how it works, what does God or goddess mean to you? How do you connect to your spirituality? These are important themes for you. And with Saturn up here, he's been there for a year. He'll be there till March of 23. Some of you guys are looking for traditional religions that you can fit into, or traditional practices of spiritual attainment that you can fit into. Now, Gemini, you have a 10th house sky full of beautiful opportunity with Jupiter's up there, with Mercury and Neptune and the sun. This is an enormously positive direction for this next April to April around you succeeding in your goals, in your career, in your ambitions, in your work, or how you want to show up in the world. You're kind of having blessings in career for an entire April to April theme. And so this is a time I'd say, ask for the promotion, take the job that you really want, not the one you should take, apply for things you think are outside of your reach. The sky's the limit with Jupiter at the top of the sky. And with Neptune's sun up there, it's dream the real dream of what you want in your career, and don't waste your time doing anything else. You have support in the sky for success in your career. The great mother energy of Ceres or Demeter is sitting on your ascendant. You are tending to your body with food that is good for you, with nutrition, with herbs, with plant medicines, whatever you need. Your body is being fortified by the goddess of the harvest. So this is also for Geminis a time to really begin to reap a healthier body through the foods that you're choosing to eat. I hope my internet is not still choppy, guys. I reset the modem. I took all the videos off my computer. I don't even know what's left to do. So if this is another choppy video, I'm going to have to troubleshoot by jacking a cord straight into the modem. Okay, which probably I should just have done. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. You are having an amazing moon energy. Uh-oh, I might have to go back. Where was that moon last? Oh no, the moon was in Libra. Sorry, I got it right. You're having the amazing moon in your fourth house. And this is the house of your home life and your private, domestic, private life. And maybe your land and real estate that you're in living in, like, you know, your apartment, your house. Now, this is good for comfort at home, ease and coziness at home, cooking at home, nesting at home. Oh, you Cancers are just really becoming gloriously homebodied, but balanced because it's Libra within the home, maybe beautifying your home as well. But you're emotionally satisfied in and around your home. So if you're Cancer rising and you have, you know, a new home you're going to move to, for instance, it will be amazing. Or you're trying to settle into a new home, and this is going to be an amazing, yay, you are nesting like a mother hen. Now, you have this energy of a lot of planets in your eighth house, the Aquarius stellium, and that's about your finances. Now, this is not your money as a paycheck, your savings, your 401k, bank loans and mortgages, partner, business partner and marriage partner money, shared resources, sometimes royalty in passive income and royalty income. So, and stock market investments, if I didn't say that. So this other people's money house is really piled up with action. And you may have some stress here because Venus is beleaguered between malefics until the end of March. And quite possibly this could represent until about June the 21st when we get another ingress into another season of the sun, into the summer season. You might find that you are feeling frustrated around things to do with your money. Like you are trying to get a bank loan, but you're not qualifying. You're trying to get the mortgage, but the rates are too high. You're trying to get your husband's money from him legally or illegally, and he won't, or she won't part with her money, that kind of thing. Now, this is going to ebb, and by the midsummer onward, by June 21st, this should not be a problem. You're just focused a lot there. And then the second thing is that with this stellium of planets in your ninth house of foreign lands and God and truth and wisdom and courts, you're certainly going to be blessed with Jupiter there. Jupiter in the ninth house, if you want to win at a legal thing, you're taking someone to court, or you're trying to get something legal or a visa or some kind of legal thing finished up. This is all so powerfully a good luck charm. Jupiter is going to say, gotcha, we got this, you're good. And same thing with travel to foreign lands, same thing with publishing a book, getting the perfect agent, getting the perfect publisher, or self-publishing it and getting off to a great start and having rip-roaring sales. It doesn't matter. Jupiter in the book publishing house with Neptune, yay you. In fact, your book could be turned into a movie with this placement. So very quickly be moved into the land of Hollywood or something like that. I want you to think, and when I keep, earlier when I was talking, I was saying that the ninth house is also the house of things to do with, what did I say? God, you know, but it's like religion, but it's deeper than that. It's like, what do you put faith in? What do you believe in? Because with Jupiter up here, you could find yourself with a spiritual teacher. You know what I mean? You can find yourself with like a guru or a spiritual guide. If there's something you're looking for, like, you know, Neptune is close to the sun. Now, of course, the sun, I kept saying like with the sun up there, but the sun is like right beside Neptune, right? Because it's an Aries ingress chart, and the Neptune sun are in a conjunction across signs. And this is very like Neptune sun guru stuff. Okay. And Neptune's in the ninth house and the sun's in the 10th. So I'm looking at you guys saying, oh my God, for some of you are going to find a spiritual guide or teacher or mentor or something like that during this time, and really grow your spiritual beliefs in some fundamental way. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. So now what I have in your sky here for the Aries ingress chart is amazing. Love, committed love, monogamy, commitment. Okay, so some of you guys will find love. Now, maybe not till June 1st. Why? Because the stellium of planets in your seventh house in Aquarius starts with a besieged Venus, and she'll add a besiegement vibe in the end of March. But I do want to say energetically, it's probably done by mid-June. So if you're a Leo, sun, moon, and rising, and you're single, look for love to maybe blossom sometime between mid-June to the April of 23. And it will lead to great commitment because Juno and Venus are there together. Juno is committed love, and Venus is love affairs and sexuality. And the two of them are holding hands in your house of committed love. This applies to business partnerships if you need one, especially with a woman, and maybe an older woman with Saturn there that could support you in any business alliances that you have. And if you're like me and you put things into the public sphere, Venus here can make you also very popular, just like the moon. So things you're doing, Leos, and you want to make public, sell, market, that stuff, it could be going very well this time. But again, wait till after June 21st. The moon is sitting in your natal third house, which is your siblings' house, and your aunts, uncles, cousins as well, and short trips and travel. You may be traveling to see a sibling may travel to see you. There's going to be more connection to your extended family. Your aunts, uncles, cousins, and siblings are going to maybe be more prominent. If you want to travel, you're going to be able to do that, and finding that emotional satisfaction in travel and balance with that as well. And lastly, this is learning things, and you may want to learn something here and find something very enjoyable and emotionally satisfying in short-term and skill-based learning. Last, you have the Jupiter-led Pisces stellium in your earnings, sorry, your savings, not your savings, let me get this right. Your bank loans, your mortgages, your 401k, your business partner's money, your husband's money, joint resources, that kind of stuff. Now, Jupiter brings money luck in your 8th house. So this is going to be a time to expand, Leos, and grow your money. And money grows money for you with this kind of placement. So it's a good time to take cautious investment strategies that work for you to grow money into money. And also you may have some inheritances. Now, Leo, I don't want to worry you because it's probably somebody who's elderly, but Jupiter in your 8th house is baking in the potential of a bequeathment that could be coming into your life sometime in April of 21 to 22. And anything else I want to tell you? You definitely want to pay attention to the idea here of keeping your head about you with investments. I'm a little worried with Neptune in the house of investments that you might not see what's really before you. And Mercury is in Pisces, and he's a little bit foggy in his intellect here. He's more dreamy. So make sure any investment strategies you take, Leos, you have some people look at it besides yourself, and you do your background research into the authenticity or the validity of some investment, that you do not just take it at face value when someone offers you gold and it turns out to be fool's gold. But still, it is a very auspicious Jupiter sky, and I'm not so worried about that. I really am not. I think Jupiter will save the day, but you still should be careful. Virgo, sun, moon, rising sign. So Virgo folk, moon in your second house of money. Now, moon in the money house can mean you're going to worry about money, or money fluctuates a lot. There's ebbs and flows like the tides, On the other hand, you could be finding some emotional balance and satisfaction in your life regarding your earnings and your money status. So keep that in mind. And so there's a focus, the lunar focus on the money story. Now, at the same time, you've got a stellium in your 7th house, which is so beautiful with Jupiter there. This is like a wedding bell is tolling. Some of you Virgo risings in particular may be coming into an up level in an existing relationship with engagements, weddings, wedding plans, moving in together, or if you're single, meeting the one. And so Jupiter sitting in the 7th house for you is kind of baking in something April of 21 to 22 that looks like a real beautiful relationship thing. And also it just brings you a great positivity in your friendships and extended networks of people you see that you need to collaborate with, your clients, some of your best friends, maybe. It's just got like Jupiter's love all over it, the house of other people. And you also have this stellium of Aquarius, where Venus is temporarily besieged between malefics in your 6th house of health and health protocols and work routines. Now, it can very literally look with Saturn there in Aquarius. You've been working hard, you're being dutiful and responsible to your colleagues, coworkers, or employees, and you're doing the thing. But it's tiring, and you're weary, and you're beleaguered, and you're not having any fun. Venus is wedged between malefics. Same with your health protocols and routines. Maybe you're going every day to the gym or the workout place or whatever, but you're hating it. So and you may not feel as beautiful for all the work you're doing. So this is a time in which, between now and let's say June 21st, you might be dealing with that theme, but then it can really shift. So maybe you get a great new job, maybe you break out of it into a new health routine, and things start to really feel a lot better. You'll be working hard in your job or work environment until March of 23 with Saturn there, but you're establishing good habits, discipline, focus, all of those things, perseverance that you need as a life skill. And so this is not a same when it comes to working out and tending to your health routine. So Saturn going through here makes us work hard to get the goods, but it's worth it. It's worth it at the end of the day. Libra, sun, moon, rising sign. Well, in your story, Libra people, you're going to get this amazing energy of the moon in the house of you. Is that not a totally yay moment? Because you are going to feel more comfortable and pleased and emotionally satisfied in your own skin and in your own life, and find a balance. Libra, you're always working on balance, a balance in your health, in your body, in your emotional well-being. And women may be very prominent, including your own mother, somehow playing a role in that balance within your life. Now, there is a stellium in your fifth house of children, baby making and fertility. Be cautious if you don't want children, because Mars and Venus here, especially Venus, okay, in a house of her joy, would be so happy to make a baby. And if you or your partner isn't wanting that, Libras, be careful. Venus will be besieged, so baby making could be beleaguered if you want to have a baby, or all that, or your sex life is not having its normal robust fun, or your romantic life is actually sucking right now. Venus in a house of her joy, romance and children, is besieged until the end of March. However, because this is kind of a baked in story, I'm going to say until June 21st, as I've done for everybody else. When we get into a new Aries ingress into Cancer, solar ingress into Cancer, you're more likely to feel it until then. So dissatisfaction in your sex life, dissatisfaction in your romance life, dissatisfaction in your entrepreneurial life, all that kind of stuff. You have Saturn here. You're working hard to play hard. Saturn is a bit of a raining on your fun parade, Libra, and maybe dampening your sex fun, your romance fun. It's just not the way it always has been. He's been dampening that for a year. He'll dampen it until March of 23, but there will be a light at the end of the tunnel. So Libra, hang in there. With the Pisces stellium, including blessed Jupiter in your sixth house, so Jupiter, Mercury, and Neptune, you are really able to fortify your own best habits for health and wellness and routines that serve you in your work, your daily work tools and techniques, and colleagues at work, co-workers, or your employees if you're the boss. This is a place of great blessing and opportunity. And with Jupiter here, someone in a higher up position might really take a fancy to you if you're under somebody, and you could really benefit from the favorship or the goodwill of somebody in authority, your boss, your boss's boss, something like that during the next year. Certainly it means that you're going to be succeeding Jupiter and be happy and successful in some kind of work environment. And, because the moon in the house of your identity rules the 10th house of your career, a lot of you guys are going to be really loving your career path between March of 22 and 23. There's no doubt about it. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. Let's start with the moon. All right, let's talk about the moon in your 12th house, baked in for a year thematically. This is the house of your inner life and your dreams at night and hidden enemies. Watch out for elderly women who are hidden enemies, but also it's your spiritual and, intuitive part of the sky. And it's if you have any habits that are emotionally comforting, but not good for you, you'll probably get rid of them. So, like eating that Haagen-Dazs, binge watching the Netflix, smoking weed daily, or whatever it is you might do. The moon is about habits and comfort, and the house of addictions is a 12. So I think you're going to be squarely looking at anything Scorpio rising, especially, but sun and moon as well, that you really do for comfort, but it doesn't serve you and it sabotages you in the end of the day, where you are your own worst enemy. The second thing is that a female, may be in the hospital. It could be a mom, a mother figure, a grandmother figure, but a woman, may have time in a hospital or worse, at a sane asylum or mental institution. But it could just be that is coming to your attention to pay attention to, and not necessarily true. It won't be like your mate. Like if you're married, that's not your lunar character, right? That's a more familial or like motherly like person. All right. And next, you have the stellium with a besieged Venus starting out this ingress in your fourth house of home. And it's disappointing or struggle or hardship or feeling edged and wedged in regarding homeland and real estate deals and issues. So my son is a Scorpio rising. They had a vote with his condo to take a buyout because the place needs so much renovation, the whole building, and the tenants, the owners voted no. Very disappointing for my Scorpio son, who wanted to leave this white elephant behind and get a buyout from a developer and move on. So that is not surprising with the besiegement of Venus in the Scorpionic people's fourth house. However, Venus leaves her besiegement on March the 26th or 7th or 8th, around there. I think it's the 28th. And then if something got log jammed regarding home and real estate and buying and purchasing, that should lighten up, and Venus will be strong in your last part of your chart there in your fourth house, giving you some juice at the end of March until April 5th when she enters your fifth house. So I would expect breakthroughs in that time, but energetically, you may still feel some land, home, and real estate beleaguerment and stuck feeling, rock in a hard place until June 21st. And then I think it's going to change. Now, you also have Jupiter, goodness gracious, in your fifth house. It's a classic fertility baby making placement. Scorpio risings are especially prone to baby making right now. Do you want to make a baby or not? Because if you do, you're going to get one. If you don't want to have one, be cautious. You do have bolts of sudden unexpected developments in the house of marriage and partnership from Uranus aiming back at Jupiter in your house of baby making. Unexpected pregnancies with your partner are possible. If you are single and a Scorpio rising, sun or moon, especially rising, you can have a brand new, oh my God, joyful, super happy, best relationship ever, especially with Neptune, Jupiter here. It's like the soulmate story, the big love story, my twin flame, my divine complement showing up in your life. And plus finally, don't forget, this is a theme that's going to take a year to take out, April to April. This is like freaking fun. Jupiter in your fifth house is you're having some fun. You're expanding your joy. You're actually breaking out and enjoying your life. Okay. Hallelujah. So there's that as well. Good joy, good breakout, more fun for all of you Scorpio rising and sun and moon as well. Sagittarius, sun, moon, rising sign. So Sagittarius, you're getting the energy of that moon in your 11th house. Now, your 11th house is a lucky house, right? You can get windfalls coming at you. You can get great money payouts, promotions, bonuses from your work. You can have friends who really want to help you and do all kinds of incredibly great favors. Look to women, moon, especially more maternal or older or familial women, to be very supportive of you, Sagittarius people, over the next year, April to April. And you may find with the moon there as well that you get a little popularity. This is a fame house. The moon can bring popularity with the people. If you're a Sag rising, especially, and you're aspiring to some kind of micro celebrity or even celebrity, this opens up some doors there. With a stellium of planets with a besieged Venus in your third house, things about your local neighborhood or short trips and travel have been stymied. And especially with Venus's besiegement until the end of March, even a pleasurable trip may not have been so pleasurable, right? It got there and it was bickering. Mars is there. There's a planetary war in the house of trips and travel. Or you're having difficulty with a sibling. Oh my God. And you're bickering with them and you're trying to make the peace, but it's not happening. This besieged Venus in your third house is not good for sibling relationships, trips and travel that are enjoyable, etc. Now, this is not going to last forever. As I said, end of March, the besiegement ends, but more like by mid June on the solstice, when the sun goes into Cancer, you might find that this is going to turn around and that this no longer is this crunchy zone of your sky. If you're marketing and selling things and promoting things or writing things, other meanings of the third house, that's also very gritty and there's a lot of discord. And those trips and travel, there's no doubt about it. Mars loves to travel, airplanes, trains, and automobiles. He's in the third house of travel. So a lot of you guys are doing travel a lot this year. Okay. I'm not going to you're doing a lot of travel. Maybe it's for work, but you may not always be getting the enjoyment you want from that travel until after mid-June or June 21st. Stellium led by Jupiter in your fourth house, homeland and real estate benefit you. Ideal time to buy a home, sell a home, expand your home, add an addition to your home, whatever you want to do. All good things happen in and from your home. You are blessed in the home zone of your sky. And it's your ruler who's there, your Sag rising. So your guy has got your back, So if you need to sell a home or buy a home, expand a home, move your home, change your home, whatever, Jupiter says, got you. With Neptune there, probably wants to get you close to a body of water, seashore, seaside, pond, river, stream, something like that. And Mercury is there too. He's a little foggy, signing real estate deals this year. Make sure you get an extra pair of eyes on it, you might miss something in the fine print on real estate purchase deals because, because Neptune is in Pisces, where he just wants to do bard-like poetry all day and has no interest in legal fine print. Oh, guys, I need a massage so bad. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign, or physiotherapy. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. Let's talk about the moon. The moon is in your 10th house of career in the sign of Libra, which is balance. You're trying to find balance and emotional satisfaction through balance within your work, career, and reputation zone. And that's going to be a theme for the next year. And women in the environment of your work, especially elder or maternal or familial or, you know, that kind of thing, women can be very beneficial to you in your workplace and help you find that balance. Second of all, you have that besieged Venus, crunchy stellium, sitting in Aquarius, sitting in your second house of earnings and money and cash flow and possessions. Now, like there's lots of things happening here. With besieged Venus, you wanted to sell that fancy car, but nobody wants to buy it, or you can't get your price. You wanted to get a promotion or a raise, or you want cash flow to move more quickly, but things are really gritty. The grit will pick up and leave you. I mean, be gone by like June 21st, probably. Although you'll see some lightening up by the end of March, especially between, let's say, March 28th and April 5th, when Venus is still in your money house, but no longer enclosed between malefics. Now, Mars is trying to make you take action to fix your money problems, but he's also prone to spending a lot of money when he's in the second house. And so you may find money going out faster, a lot of caps, and it's coming in, and this is concerning you in some way. But Saturn in your money house until 2023, and he's been there a year already, and he'll be there out of there in March of 23, is growing you a sober backbone around finances, and you're being really realistic about your money and how you take care of your possessions and your money during this time. Now, that beautiful stellium in your third house with Jupiter is blessing travel for you. If you want to start getting out there and traveling again, Jupiter has got your back. The skies are a friendly place, as United Airlines says. There were so many funny memes about that during COVID. And you're having joy with travel, but also joy with siblings, aunts, uncles, and cousins. Favorable relations there are happening. You could find yourself traveling to places that are Neptunian, dreamy, seaside, soulful, spiritual places during this next year, April to April. And if you want to learn something, this is classic. Jupiter in your, like the instructor is in your third house of learning. So learning something, how to knit, how to sew, how to sell real estate. Like this is practical skills-based tools you can use. But a lot of you Capricorns will start learning something new April to April, and it will go very well because Jupiter will help you with that. Here we go for the Aquarians. That's me, Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. Guys, I need a massage. Are any of my listeners on YouTube living in Vancouver and are willing to give me a massage in exchange for a free reading? If that's you, just message me. My email's on this YouTube channel. All right. So number one, the moon for Aquarius rising, folk like me, is in our 9th house of foreign lands, foreign shores, and foreign travel. Guys, I cannot wait to travel again. So I'm hoping maybe to make a trip to Mexico in the next 3 months sometime. So I've been really feeling deprived of foreign shores and foreign lands the last couple of years. And so a lot of Aquarians might find with the moon in that 9th house that there's something about comfort and safety and security, or just wellness or goodness about how we like to find some lunar comfort in foreign lands. Now, there's also the possibility of a female in and from a foreign land or foreign shore having an influence in our life, April to April. And lastly, if you're looking for a new spiritual path or discipline to grow your faith and your divine connection, this is really good, but I might suspect it'd be a lunar path. So what is a lunar path? Well, it's not like the solar path. It could be like a devotional path, chanting mantras or something like that. I'm studying the Bhagavad Gita now with this lovely couple, and I'm learning a little bit about the Hindu story that is embedded into that mythic story. And I don't think I'm naturally going to be coming into a path of bhakti or devotional yoga or something, but who knows? Last, if you're a book publishing type, writing books like I am, an Aquarius rising, this is really great for book publishing. This is meeting a woman or having some kind of lunar luck in the house of book publishing, the right agent, the right editor, the right publisher, that kind of thing. Okay. And if you're going to higher education, all those themes apply. Now, The besieged Venus stellium is in the house of us. Guys, I need a haircut. I'm not going to do it till she gets out of there, March 28th, April 5th. God forbid I see a hairdresser when the goddess of beauty is besieged in the house of my identity and my body. And this is very practical. I haven't had a cavity in like 30 years. And I just had a dentist appointment today, and she goes, "Oh my God, your dental hygiene is so great, this and that." It is, but she's, I do have a small cavity, and it's because I'm grinding my teeth at night, and apparently anyway. But the point I want to say is that, that's literally my sky right now. There's a besieged Venus, right? Goddess of beauty, your teeth, your smile, and Mars, the god of inflammation and, sawing away, like, dentists with a drill and stuff. And Saturn, oh, it's just intense energy. So Aquarius risings, we're feeling it now. This besieged Venus can mean that we're not feeling all that sociable, and we don't really feel our social juice until maybe June 21st onward. And that's true. I'm not feeling sociable. I'm not feeling friendly. I'm not feeling outgoing right now. And so there's just that quality of this besiegement that will let up, okay, but not maybe energetically until mid-June, but certainly realistically by the end of this month. And we're putting a lot of effort into our bodies with Mars in our first house. A lot of us over the course of April to April, Aquarius are going to get back into some new kind of exercise or old kind of exercise coming back. I just signed up for Pilates, and then, I need to do something. I got really sedentary during the pandemic. So we're focused on our physical health. We're taking action steps toward it. We're getting in more movement, Mars in the first house. We're waiting to get beautiful after March, the end of March. If you're careful, you'll be fine. And, we have Juno baked in here. So some of us, if you're single like me, if Juno, the goddess of committed love, bakes in with Venus to your first house, especially after June 21st, so next April, I think a lot of us will be looking at ourselves less as a single person and more as a paired person. Okay. Now that stellium in Jupiter-led stellium of Neptune and Mercury in your second house is financially beautiful for all of us Aquarius rising, secondarily Sun and Moon. Jupiter brings money, luck, expansion, and growth. And Neptune makes it an alignment with our highest visions and dreams and ideals, and maybe to do with screenwriting, photography, filmmaking, or music, but not necessarily. Mercury is very bard-like and dreamy and poetic here and he's baking in there. This is us, really using a Mercury that's more of a messenger of the creative, the artistic, the transcendent, and the spiritual. Okay. So he's less inclined when he's in Pisces to, dole out instruction manuals of how to put your IKEA furniture together. Okay. Nothing like that. But he's also ruling marketing, merchandise, and commerce. And for any of us Aquarius who sell things online, like courses and products and services, this is extremely auspicious to have Jupiter and Neptune combining forces here, baking in that prosperity for a year. Even when Jupiter's gone and he's now moved into Aries, we're still getting this afterglow of luck and money and expansion in our sky. And technically Jupiter will leave May 11th and be back at the end of the year, October 28th to December 20th. So he'll actually be contributing for real, but the theme has been baked in from April to April of increasing prosperity. Yay us, yay us. Oh my God, guys. Okay, next, last but not least, I think what I need more than anything is my chiropractor, Sabrina in Vancouver. She's amazing. She's my witch, Sabrina Chensi. She does Atlas Chiropractic, and she fixes the top bone and then everything falls into place. And I haven't seen her in 2 years because I was living in Montreal. Last but not least, Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. So Piscean people, yay, yay. This is exciting. I'm going to start with the best news of all. I mean, you've got a stellium baked into the house of your body, Jupiter and Mercury and Neptune, and the sun is nearby, but not with, he's over, but he's still like Neptune's feeling the solar vibes. They're vibing in the house of your body, your identity, your personhood, how you feel about being you. You are expanding your identity. You are growing larger than life. You're charismatic, magnetic, and magnanimous. You are leaderful. People like you. You like you. Everyone likes you. Jupiter's in your first house. It's fantastic. Do not complain. You might put a bit of weight on, no big deal. Now, this is true, right? Jupiter is there until the middle of May, and he's back at the end of the year, but vibrationally, you get a long haul, good vitality, Jupiter juice to support your body, your health, your well-being, all of that. You do have the moon in your natal 8th house, which can propel you toward focusing on your wealth and your money and your partner's money and inheritances as well. And moon in the 8th house is how you are emotionally satisfying yourself through money that comes to you through those places. And, the moon can also involve the death of an elder female that could also lead to some financial gain for you, a bequeathment or something like that. Now, the other thing for you, Pisces, is that your experience of that besieged Venus is all inside of your own self. Besieged Venus, close between Mars and Saturn, in the month of March, in your house of your self-undoing, your addictions, your negative thought patterns and habits. All right. Women who don't have your back. So watch for hidden enemies, secret enemies, but more so you're your own worst enemy, maybe. You might be looking at your values and what you love, or the pleasures and indulgences that you have that you should not have because they're not supporting you and they're helping you get into ruts, stuck places. So you're kind of going through a soul searching, sweeping, broom closet cleaning, baggage decluttering phase here. This kind of bakes in for the whole year until next April. You're April to April. You're still like excavating junk out of the psychic closet, past life closet, time for past life regression, time for Reiki healers, time for all the woo to support you through this journey. By June the 21st, when we have the sun moving into Cancer, I think you're going to feel this sense of intense besiegement and the intensity waning quite a lot. And if you are looking to get money from foreign lands and foreign shores or payment processors like Stripe and PayPal, look no further than, like, let's say the end of the month, the 28th to April 5th, when Venus finally breaks out of her besiegement and might just ka-ching some money back at you. I'm thinking of my Pisces rising sister. But I'm also thinking that this is even for you if you do long-term PayPal and Stripe kind of business abroad. Your clients come from all over, but borders apply. You could definitely see things picking up mostly after mid-June, June 21st, but as well, after the 28th of April. Okay. Did I say April? Of May. Okay, of May. So thank you guys for listening to Lunatic Astrology. If I'm all choppy and this video is all sketchy again, I don't know. I'm going to have to figure this out. It's been happening on and off with either my internet or my computer, and I'm not sure which. Thanks for listening. It's been a pleasure. And check out my latest videos. The moon video on the 18th will be applying for 2 weeks, and it's really a good moon, and it brings power, ambition, and success. I'll put the link in the description box if I remember. I did a video about will Putin win the war. These videos are not tracking with my regular followers. They're only on search engines. So it's really doing not great. It's kind of slow, but if you're into that kind of thing, predictions, astrology, charts of the leaders in the countries, go check it out as well. Thanks guys. It is a pleasure to be with you virtually here. Bye-bye.